Thanks to the Chamber's Governmental Affairs Committee, chaired by Teresa Bedez, and to the Chamber staff members, as well as to Mr. Eldon Motes and his staff at the Performing Arts Center for having everything set up and ready for us to go this evening.
So here's the format for tonight's candidate forum. We will have all the races represented, and candidates will have an opportunity to give a 2-minute opening statement. Candidates, you can do that either seated or at the podium, whichever your choice. They will then be asked questions from the committee. These questions have been submitted to the Government Affairs Committee and have been vetted and are available in the bowl, and they'll be picked out randomly for the candidates. Each candidate will be asked to answer the question that is drawn, and also they'll each have an opportunity to do that. After the question and answer period, the candidates will give a 2-minute closing statement. I want to make it clear that this is a forum and not a debate. The goal is to help Fannin County voters learn more about the candidates. We will include some written questions from the audience if we have time. You may write your questions on an index cards, which are available at the entrance to the auditorium. So if you have a question, please grab one of those cards, write your question down, and return it to the chamber person, and they'll get that question to us. Chamber staff members Kim Foster and Jody Mull will be in the front row timing, and they will let speakers know when 1 minute is up and then when the time is up. So they have flashcards that will indicate to you how you're progressing. Candidates may speak at the table, as I said, or at the podium. So to reiterate, each candidate will have an opportunity to do a 2-minute opening statement. Then we'll have a series of questions, which you'll have 2 minutes to respond to, and then a closing statement of 2 minutes in length.
Okay, we are going to begin with the post-4 race, and in this race we have Richard Arnold, Jacqueline Kiker-Brown, and Dr. Bill Whaley. So we'll begin with opening statements. So, Mr. Arnold, if you would like to begin with your 2-minute opening statement.
First off, I am Richard Arnold, and I wish to thank Jan and the Chamber for putting this event on. It's always a great event. I'm not going to spend my 2 minutes tonight talking about myself, but if you want to learn more about me, visit my website at Richard Arnold for brcitycouncil.com, and I have my platform, my bio, and my positions up there. So this is about leadership. Great leaders start with why. I ask why a lot. I've been asking why haven't we changed our former city government to a city manager council format for years. As far as I know, I'm the only candidate supporting this change as a major plank in my platform. Our city, a corporation, is currently being managed by a part-time CEO and mayor at $700 a month, and a part-time council, which is the board of directors, at $500 a month each. The city's a multi-million-dollar operation with almost 60 employees and 8 supervisors. Would you invest in a multi-million-dollar business knowing it had a part-time CEO? I doubt it. But that's exactly what citizens do when they send their taxes to the city. On 28 December 2020, the City Council passed a resolution to change our charter to a city manager council form of government. 3 candidates on this panel, on this forum, voted for that resolution, but I haven't heard one of them speak or write about the subject during the campaign. Why? That resolution was passed at the same time that the staggered resolution was passed, which we're using for this election. Before the end of the year, the current council needs to resend the approved resolution from 28 December 2020 back to the state legislature to vote for a change in our city charter. If they do not, I promise, if elected, to keep working to help bring this greatly needed change about. Our city needs and deserves a full-time, experienced, and dedicated city manager. It would be the start to fixing many of our city management issues. I ask for your support, and I ask for your vote.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brown, your opening statement.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this event, Veteran News and UTC for broadcasting it, and to the residents of the city and county here tonight and viewing at home. My name is Jacqueline Kiker Brown. I'm a candidate for Post 4. I am the daughter of Scott and Marion Kiker. I'm a sister to Jared, Jordan, Bradley, Colin, and Kirk. There is a total of 6 of us. My husband and I, Josh, we have 3 fur babies, and we are so fortunate to call Blue Ridge our home. I'm a Fannin County High School graduate. I attended the University of North Georgia and the University of Georgia, where I obtained a bachelor's in business administration, a minor in history, and a minor in English literature. I cannot tell you how much I've loved growing up here in Fannin County. Our community is beautiful with all of God's creations, but most importantly, it's beautiful and wonderful because of all of you. The residents of the city and county are the heartbeat of this town, and I want to make your voices heard. I want to make you a priority. It's so disheartening to hear such dissatisfaction amongst our community, the fact that our locals feel forgotten and swept aside. I'm here to tell you that you are not forgotten. I will listen to your concerns. I will listen to your ideas. I will serve you with an honest heart and conviction. Thank you for your time this evening, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve you.
Thank you. Dr. Whaley, your opening statement.
No written remarks. I first remember Blue Ridge in 1951. I was 11 years old. My father was an FBI agent. He said, "Boy, we're going to Blue Ridge and we're going to go fishing with the sheriff." Dan had been up here with 300 other revenuers, and they had closed down the moonshine business in the mountain area. I've had property here since 1978. I've lived here full-time for 12 years. I've been a medical professional for 59 years, and I have been a Blue Ridge resident for 41 years. I have had 3 governors and 2 presidents who have thought that I had integrity and that I had ability. Joe Frank Harris made me chairman of the Governor's Commission on Alcohol and Abusable Drugs, and I sponsored legislation to stop diversion. Pharmacy lobbies stopped that. Zell Miller, my friend and patient for 35 years, that's not a HIPAA violation, put me on the DNR. I represented Georgia and negotiating with Alabama and Florida over the Chattahoochee River water. That wasn't terribly successful. It's still going on. Under Roy Barnes, I was on the Department of Corrections. We had no murders in prisons in 4 years. There were 9 last year. There are 20 this year. Both President Nixon and President Clinton had me on the National Drug Abuse and Alcohol Prevention Committee. I've had a full-time office up here for 20 years. I had a free clinic up here 40 years ago. That full-time office now is the Cancer Center in Jasper, Blairsville, and Blue Ridge. You now can get cancer care in the mountains. I'm proud of that. My wife and I, for the last decade, founded our efforts locally. Habitat for Humanity, the walking trail, volunteers for everything. I know I've got enough experience, expertise, and energy to do a real good job, and I look for your support. Thank you. I'm Earl.
Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now we'll enter the question phase of this part of the forum. And I'll pull one question, and I'll ask Ms. Kiker Brown to be first to answer this, and then you'll have 2 minutes to answer the question, and then Dr. Whaley will be next, and then Mr. Arnold. It's your choice. You want to be at the podium or at your table. Green light will go on. You good? Okay.
I think so.
Okay, good.
There's so much pressure to go first.
How do you, so, we'll get this right.
Okay.
How do you plan to work with and collaborate with other community partners, such as Fannin County government and the cities of Mckaysville and Morganton?
I think in the past, based on and obviously being a part of the community. I know that workshops were mentioned where, we could all meet together, discuss ideas. I think that, doing that on a regular schedule, just so everyone's informed and we can all work together, I think that would be definitely beneficial.
Well, thank you. Dr. Whaley?
You're asking me, I'm trying to get a question.
Mhm.
How am I going to cooperate with the county and the Mckaysville?
Yes, sir. In Mckaysville and Morganton.
I don't think that's a very hard thing to do. As a president of the Medical Association of Atlanta, I brought the African American and the White Medical Association together to start a homeless clinic, and we won the 1,000 Points of Light prize under George Bush. It's not going to be very hard to bring Morganton and to bring Kaysville and Fannin County and anybody else that's interested in common overlapping priorities together. I got a good skill in doing that, and I will meet with and be able to work with anybody and be able to outline common interests, common goals, and come to a common solution.
Great, thank you. Mr. Arnold?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't hear the whole.
Sure. Absolutely. How would you plan to work with and collaborate with other community partners, such as Fannin County government and the cities of Mckaysville and Morganton?
Ever since I've been in Fannin County, which is about 12 years now, I haven't thought that the local governments in each of the cities and the county has worked together very well at all. I've been preaching this ever since I've been here, that we need to have more collaboration between all the governments. Communication between politicians and leaders is not that difficult. And when you take the personalities out of it and you decide that you're going to serve the people and you put the people first, then anything's possible. And I've had a career of helping and pulling people together and helping businesses succeed. My background's in marketing. I've been pulling people together since I was a Boy Scout, helping people learn to work together. And we're going to have to do that if we're going to make this place successful.
Okay, the next question, we will start with Dr. Whaley. How do you plan to involve residents in future plans for the city?
Good question. First thing I plan to do is listen to them. And tomorrow night, at Sycamore Crossing, where I live, there's going to be a meet and greet. I want every voter in the town that can come ask me questions. Come tell me what's bothering you. Come tell me what you want me to do for you. And I'll do it. I'm going to listen to people. I'm the best listener you can do. I take a great medical history. I put together what's going on in your life. I find out what your goals are, what you want to have as a patient. I'm not treating a chart. And every one of these people in this town have a different idea and a different set of priorities. I want to know what they are, and then we'll try and help you do it. I don't find a bit of trouble in doing it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Arnold, how do you plan to involve residents in future plans for the city?
Well, once again, this is about communications, just like the first question was. And I'm a web guy from way back. We need to upgrade our website at the city so that people can communicate better with the officials at the city. We need to live stream our city council meetings. It's been called for. We've expected Brian to do it for free for how long? Now he's not doing it because the meetings are getting too dang long. Town hall meetings, we don't have enough of them. People need to be able to speak their mind. Take the city council meetings now, they have 5 slots or 3 slots for public comment. That's crazy. Why aren't the people given more time to talk? And so there's a lot of things like this that I will try to push through. I can't do it by myself, but I will be a strong advocate to get more citizens involved and communicate better with city council.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brown, how do you plan to involve residents in future plans for the city?
So this is something I actually thought about last night. So for the past, I'd say 11 years that I've lived in the city of Blue Ridge, I've actually only had 2 people that served on city council ever like knock on my door, just to kind of see how things are going, or if I had, an issue, just to check on follow-up of that issue. And that meant a lot to me. I know with COVID, it's a little hard to go door to door, but I want to do the legwork because I want to hear from people. Our little downtown area is not that big. If I need to start in one neighborhood for a month and just start going door to door, I even thought about maybe collecting email addresses so that I can, send out some information to keep people informed. We're pretty fortunate to have the News Observer that, keeps the residents and county residents informed and they do a great job following with stories. So just really getting out there and talking to people, doing the door-to-door, doing emails, providing my information, having an open door policy. I think that would be really, really important.
Mr. Arnold, this next question will give you the opportunity to answer first. How do you plan to find a balance between meeting the needs of tourism and meeting the needs of residents?
I'm going to have to actually repeat it because it's kind of quiet back here.
Sure. How do you plan to find a balance between meeting the needs of tourism and meeting the needs of residents?
How do you plan to what?
To find a balance?
Find a balance.
Yes.
That's a really tough question. Just in the short time that my wife and I lived here, we've watched this place grow tremendously in the last 4 to 5 years. And 12 years, we're in our 3rd home, and we chose to live downtown Blue Ridge. We did the mountains, we did the creek, now we're downtown. We chose to live downtown because we knew what we were getting into. And when I say into, we love it. I mean, the downtown is what I would consider a beautiful tourist town. And we've got to protect the residential areas. Like last night, they turned down R3 zoning from C2 to C3 down next to Grumpy's, which I thought was a good move. We need to spend more time researching these things and sharing the information with the citizens and try to get their input as much as we can so that we have a good idea of what everybody wants and what direction they want to go in. I didn't agree with the hotel going in. I didn't agree with condominiums going in. We've got that issue resolved now with the height restrictions. But a balance can be done, but it's going to, once again, all 3 of these questions revolve around communications. And we just need to do a much better job of communicating between everybody.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kiker-Brown?
I completely agree with Mr. Arnold. So unfortunately, I feel like we've pretty much got tourism down in downtown Blue Ridge. Just working, I was working in college at the Victorian Tea Room from 2008 to about 2010 while I was looking for corporate jobs. And I remember the only time parking was ever an issue was in October. And the day after Thanksgiving for Light Up Blue Ridge. Now we're an all year round town. So I'm really curious to hear from the residents on their ideas because I feel like we've got tourism up here and residents down here. So I'd like to work on getting residents happy and make them feel more involved, informed, and really voice, their opinions on it.
Excellent, thank you. Dr. Whaley?
I got some really strong ideas about this. I've got on my table at home about 8 inches of strategic plans that have been done with thousands of hours of volunteer work by professionals, college professors, all manner of PhDs and all manner of citizens, and not one thing in those strategic plans have really been implemented. You've got issues with zoning. You've got the central business district with businesses right up against R1. You can't have that. That's not the way cities are built. Central business districts come up against apartment buildings, and the people with single-family homes are somewhere else. You've got the issue of noise ordinances. Every morning at 6:30, they empty the garbage dump outside my apartment. That's okay. But you've got to be able to balance hearing protection, loud noises that are hurting the people that are working downtown, and then they're bothering the residents. You've got to find a way to make that work. More importantly, I think you've got traffic issues. People downtown can't find a place to park. They're not coming down to do business. So I think the strategic plans that have been put in place should be restudied. And somebody on the city council, and I'd be happy to do it, needs to stand up, be counted, and come up with a strategic plan, make sure that the thing meets our goals for the next 30 years, and then implement the darn thing. And quit talking about it. Why do we have that many strategic plans that are sitting on the shelves? I don't think this is rocket science. I think this is hard work, and I think it's intelligence, and it's an issue that has to be fixed.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we'll go with our closing statements. And Mr. Arnold, if you'd like to give your 2-minute closing statement.
I've been coming up here to these mountains since the 70s, hiking and backpacking with 3 buddies of mine, and fell in love with it, 50 years ago. When it came time for my wife and I to decide to find a place to live, we chose this place. We knew it was a tourist town, but it's still a small town. And we've lived in another small town where I was the Chamber of Commerce president for 3 years over in Alabama. And the 2 towns and the 2 counties are very similar in size. Over in Alabama, it wasn't a tourist town. They were struggling. And so I've spent my whole life in business, leadership, and management, since the Boy Scouts, and Delta, and Kroger, and had some really good mentors in my life. And I've been kind of standing on the sidelines, you know, being kind of a gadfly most of my life, political junkie. But it's time to jump into the arena, and I think I've got the skills and experience to bring some good attributes to City Council. And I hope you'll support me and give me your vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Brown?
Mine's a little short and sweet. I'm not really a big talker. I've had many of the same concerns as each of you over the years. I will not stand up here and make you false promises. The promises that I will make you is that I will always be willing to listen to you. I'll always be willing to discuss your concerns, your ideas, and I will bring your voice with me to every single council meeting. I want to serve you, and I want to be accountable. As early voting is approaching, I ask that you pray for each of the candidates that are running in this election. Whoever is elected, we have a long road ahead. Thank you so much for your time, your attention this evening. My name is Jacqueline Kiker Brown, and I humbly ask for your vote on November the 2nd.
Thank you. And Dr. Whaley?
First of all, I want to say to all the candidates out there that will be up here tonight, if you get elected and I'm elected, I'm going to treat you with respect. I'm going to treat you with a cooperative spirit. You're going to get my best effort, and you're going to get all of my abilities. There won't be any fights with me. I was asked earlier tonight, do you have any business experience? That came up. For 50 years, I've run a successful medical practice. But more importantly than that, 2 times I've been on boards of nationally traded companies on the New York and NASDAQ Stock Exchange. About 30 years ago, I was one of the 3 independent directors on the Rhodes Furniture Company board. An independent director is selected to represent the widows, the orphans, and the pension funds when a business is owned by a family. When that company Rhodes went from the NASDAQ to the New York Stock Exchange, I chaired that committee. I had to spend many months in New York City. I've got thousands of pages of stuff from expert lawyers and accountants. I went through it. We made recommendations. The New York Stock Exchange accepted the company. A few years later, a venture capitalist tried to buy it out. Twice as much work, twice as much time. The venture capitalist bought it out after we represented the widows, the orphans, and we represented the pension funds. I know that we need business experience in this town, and I know that I can help it. I make decisions instantly in Vietnam, in intensive care units, and in emergency rooms upon which your life and your family's life depends. I also make decisions about very complicated businesses and medicine. Many of your family members I've had a chance to treat. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. I know how to organize things. I can do it. I'm confident that I have the ability. And I ask you again, 5:30 tomorrow night, come to Sycamore Crossing downtown, ask me questions, talk to me. Sheriff Dane Kirby will be doing an introduction at about 5:45. We'll have popcorn and water. I hope you come. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to have a brief break while we change out candidates, and the next candidate forum will be the post 5 with Nathan Fitz and Bill Bivens running.